Over to you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I have the honor of introducing our speaker for the webinar, Dr. Karen Wolf. She is a powerhouse in the world of health and wellness, blending science with a passion for vibrant living. She's actually trained as an Australian physician in Sydney, Australia, and transformed her career to become a functional health coach, which I believe is because she realized that she could be more effective helping people to prevent disease than treating it. So she's become very passionate about it as long as in addition to being a best-selling author and sought after international speaker. She has her medical degree from Sydney University and a master's in psychology from National University in California. And Karen brings a unique mind body approach to optimal health, as she's also a holistic health coach certified by the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And her deepest passions lie in women's health and cellular nutrition. And she's the author of 7 books, including Is Your Lifestyle Killing You? But her most cherished role right now is being Mimi to her 4 amazing grandchildren. We're lucky to have you here. Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
Tammy.
Karen.
Thank you, Tammy. And I have to big shout out to everybody. Thank you for joining us, and a special shout out to Dushi. Dushi, I went to medical school with in Sydney, Australia. Dushi, that was a long time ago, and it's lovely to see you on the webinar. Oh my gosh, to stay connected all of this time. So I'm so glad you're all on. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart because, as Tammy said, I'm very interested in creating health. And the number one topic on people's minds wherever I go, and my clients are all asking me about these GLP-1 injections. So my goal tonight is to educate. I'm not taking a stand one way or the other. I want to educate so that you have the best information, whether you are helping someone, and this is what I'm covering tonight, for people who actually might be taking the medications and want long-term results after the injections, or people that are considering stopping and want to avoid the rebound weight gain, or maybe you have a friend or a partner, or a parent who is on the GLP-1s and you want to understand how to help, like what is it and how's it working and why are these side effects happening. And or you are, and I have a lot of people that I mentor is wellness business owners who you want to understand and support metabolism as naturally as possible. So one thing for sure is we all need this information wherever we are on the spectrum of supporting optimally your metabolism. So what I want to do first is educate about the fact that this hormone, GLP-1, is a hormone that's naturally produced in the body. And I want to say that at the very beginning, because a lot of people think that, oh, we just need it from the outside, and don't realize that we actually naturally produce this hormone. And I'm going to talk about where it's produced and how it's produced and how to optimize your natural production of it. And then we're going to talk about how the agonist, so I'm going to define what an agonist is and explain how they work. So first of all, it's just education. And then we're going to talk about wherever you are on your journey in this field, a holistic lifestyle approach is so important. You can't just take the injection and then keep doing all your normal habits, because that is not going to work long term. We want to understand how to optimize and support your body's metabolism. And we're going to talk about foods and physical activity and stress management and sleep quality. So that's my goal tonight. And I won't be looking at the chat to start with, because I want to get through all the content, because chances are I'll answer some of your questions. I saw a lot of your questions in the registration, and so it really helped me understand what you're looking for. And then we'll have time for some Q&A afterwards. So let's talk about how this glucagon-like peptide is made naturally in the body. So it is a hormone, and guess what? It's produced in the gut. And you all know how much I love to talk about gut health. So it's produced in the gut naturally in response to food intake. So primarily, its role is to increase the hormone insulin. So when insulin increases, it helps regulate blood sugar, and it helps to decrease another hormone called glucagon, and glucagon normally raises blood sugar. So when you decrease glucagon, you stabilize blood sugar. So that's why it has such a powerful effect on blood sugar, and why we've been using these medications for diabetes for a long time. But now they've been used for weight loss because insulin as a hormone is a fat storing hormone. So if we can get the blood sugar balanced and the insulin levels more sensitive, then we can affect weight. And of course, blood sugar, when blood sugar goes up, insulin goes up. So it's found indirectly to benefit weight. And of course, there's other benefits that they're finding from these injections too. And what GLP-1 does also is it slows emptying of food from the stomach. So when the stomach slows the emptying, you feel fuller longer. So you don't eat as much because you feel full. Now, that also has some side effects that we'll talk about potentially. It also acts on the brain. And we know this, we talk about it all the time, the so-called food noise, because this hormone is literally acting on the brain to stop the appetite. So it's being used now, interestingly, for other addictions because of the effect on the brain. And it has other less well-known gut effects that I'll talk about. So a visual representation of this is there's a little pancreas. So the GLP-1 increases insulin and decreases glucagon to help stabilize blood sugar, which helps control weight. And it slows the emptying of the stomach. So you feel fuller, and it slows the motility. Now, the extreme case of that is something called gastroparesis, where the stomach doesn't even move. It slows it so much, the stomach doesn't work, because the stomach is a muscle. So I'll talk about that as one of the side effects just to be aware of. And of course, it works on the brain to stop that food noise. So it increases food intake and decreases water intake. Now, what's really interesting, and just keep this in mind, is the half-life of our naturally produced GLP-1 is 1 to 2 minutes. That means how long it takes for 50% of the hormone to be metabolized and excreted. 1 to 2 minutes. This is how nature intended the GLP-1 hormone to work in our body. 1 to 2 minutes. Keep that thought in mind, because I'm going to swing back around when I talk about the agonists. Now let's talk about the agonists. An agonist is a manufactured substance that causes an action similar to a natural occurring substance. So you already know we have GLP-1 naturally. So an agonist is something that's been made outside the body and that acts in a similar way to our own GLP-1. They mimic the effects of naturally produced GLP-1, but in a more potent and longer lasting form. Now, the fact that you probably didn't even know that the body makes its own GLP-1 is a huge step forward, because if someone's trying to get off a GLP-1 medication, we absolutely want to support natural production, and gut health is going to be like the #1 key. So that's where I work with a lot of my clients with gut health. And here's remember I told you the half-life of naturally occurring GLP-1 is 1 to 2 minutes. The half-life of Ozempic, a well-known GLP-1, is 7 days. That's how long it takes for 50% of what you're injecting to actually get metabolized and absorbed. So that's a big difference. So it raises the question of, well, then what side effects can potentially ensue when you're having something stay around in the body, not 1 to 2 minutes, but 7 days. And so let's talk about the 3 main side effects of these agonists. And also that's why Ozempic is taken once a week, because the half-life is so long. So the most common side effects are gut side effects, because guess what? The gut is where the primary action is taking place. So nausea, vomiting, bowel changes, diarrhea and or constipation, bloating, heartburn, because the stomach is not moving. And so you can have full stomach, and then you can get the contents of the stomach coming back up, and you can get that heartburn. The higher the dose you take, the more that's going to affect it, because the more you're going to get that motility affected. Appetite suppression, obviously, we talked about that, the food noise directly on the brain. Plus, when the stomach doesn't empty and the contents stay in the stomach, then you've had that full feeling. So you tend to eat reduced calories. This can lead to fatigue. The big issue is nutrient deficiency, because if you are not well educated around a whole lifestyle approach, and you're just given, say, the injection, then you can seriously suffer nutrient deficiency, because you're not eating as much, and you're probably not eating the range of the rainbow to get all your nutrients. So you absolutely need to take a high quality pharmaceutical grade nutritional supplement if you're on a GLP-1. I mean, I think everybody should anyway. It also, because of this nutrient deficiency, it can cause reduced fertility and hair loss, because hair and nails are a sign of great nutrition. And so that can be one of the first signs that you're nutrient deficient. And then the big issue that I'm counseling my clients so much about is muscle loss. So most of the weight lost when you're on these injections is muscle loss. So please don't pay attention so much to the scale. Make sure you do biometric screening, which looks at your lean muscle mass, your body fat mass, and you take that as a guide to success, not just scale weight. Because when you lose muscle, what happens then is it slows your metabolism. So then when you go off these medications, your metabolism is tanked. And so you're going to gain weight much faster. It also gives you loss of strength, which can affect bones. Irregular heart rhythms, because the muscle is a muscle. The heart is a muscle. And low blood pressure, fatigue, weaker bones, sarcopenia, an increased risk of fractures. So these are what I would call the most common side effects of these agonists. And again, I am educating here. That's my goal, because any healthcare decision you need to enter into with good information. And of course, then a very good health practitioner. And I'm not giving medical advice here. I am giving you health education advice. I'm not going to answer any medical questions today. That's up to you and your provider. I want to just make sure you're given a really good comprehensive understanding, so that you can make decisions for yourself, or share with people you love, or if you're in the wellness space, you can use this information to educate your clients. Now, this is some of the more severe side effects, and this comes from a Sonovive Medical Institute. So Sonovive is a functional medicine hospital in Rosarito, Mexico. And I've been there many, many times. I'm headed back there the end of next month for a 1-week digestive detox. And they have lots of amazing medical programs. You can go, you see down here, sonovive.com. And I'm actually a certified nutritionist from Sonovive. And these are some of the more serious side effects. And again, I think it's good to just have this information. You don't know who's going to have these side effects and who's not, but they're fairly serious. And it's just important to know that these are possible. And as I said, some of the tools that are helpful with GLP-1 injections is a bioimpedance scale. These are pretty inexpensive now, that it looks at your body fat mass, your lean muscle mass, not just your scale weight, and then some kind of tool like an Apple Watch that tracks your steps, or MyFitnessPal, because moving and exercising and strength training and building muscle is important for all of us, but it is more important if someone is on these GLP-1 injections because of the risk of muscle loss. Okay, so let's get to the fun stuff. A holistic approach to long-term weight loss success. I will definitely say to you that injections are not the answer to long-term healthy weight. You need to have a holistic approach to weight. And the thing that people don't realize is the biggest part of the equation is gut health. And not just because GLP-1 is produced in the gut, but Hippocrates says all disease begins in the gut. So gut health is super important. And GLP-1 impact on gut health that's naturally produced and the agonists, as I said, affects gut motility. So the whole gut lining is a muscle, not just the stomach, but the whole intestine is a lining. So that slows down. So the movement of food and waste through the gut slows down. A lot of people get constipated when they use these agonists. And that's why, because you're not getting the lovely peristaltic movement of the gut. Barrier integrity. This is the small intestine that is one cell thick that allows nutrients through these barriers, these little interstitial barriers. And GLP-1 can actually enhance the function of these tight junctions and the gut-brain axis. So the GLP-1 can affect the communication between our first and our second brain, and stomach emptying. As I said, it promotes a sense of satiety. And then a big one, and this we don't hear much about, but we're going to hear more and more about the gut microbiome. These are all the microbes. More microbes than human cells in our body. And the big question is, how does GLP-1, both naturally and the agonist, affect the gut microbiome? The microbes that are diverse, and you want a diversity of composition, and that's so important to all aspects of health. So we don't know a lot about that. All we know is there is a big impact. And part of the effectiveness of GLP-1 is its effect on the gut microbiome. So that the more diverse our microbiome is, the more optimal our GLP-1 will be. So this is just a beautiful slide that looks at how much of our overall health is impacted by this microbiome, every aspect of our health. So I cannot reinforce to you enough that an understanding that inside your body lives all of these microbes, and our job is to keep them as diverse and optimal as possible for all aspects of our health. And in case you haven't heard about this, 1,000 microbial species exist, 10 million genes, more than 150 times the size of the human genome. Changes involved in obesity and type 2 diabetes. It could be one of the reasons these GLP-1 agonists are so effective with diabetes is because of the effect on the microbiome. And alterations in this ecosystem changes GLP production, which is why if you want to optimize your own GLP-1, you need optimal gut health. And look at this fact, 65% of human genome comes from microorganisms. Just amazing. When Dushi and I were in medical school, we didn't even have the word microbiome. Didn't exist. In fact, we talked about the germ theory, which is all germs are bad, you've got to get rid of them. And now we're saying there are more germs that live inside of us than human cells. It's quite a paradigm shift. So to optimize your body's own GLP-1, we've got to optimize gut health. We do that with probiotics and prebiotics. And you might not have heard of this word postbiotic, but a postbiotic are the metabolites of probiotics that are broken down. And they're actually very active, and we're learning more and more of their role. And so GLP-1 secretion is affected by our gut microbiome, and our gut microbiome affects GLP-1's production. So it goes both ways. And how we support optimal GLP-1 is with the food we eat, physical activity, stress, and sleep. I did write the book, Is Your Lifestyle Killing You? Because people forget the power we have with lifestyle choices. And I'm going to specifically address it as it relates to GLP-1 today. So first of all, with probiotics and prebiotics and fermented foods, certain probiotics and prebiotic foods can enhance your own GLP-1 production because it improves your gut health, which in turn supports insulin sensitivity. And it's the insulin sensitivity that has the powerful effect on blood sugar and for diabetes, as well as weight management. So here are my 7, I could talk all day about gut health, but I want to break it down for you so that you've got some takeaways to be able to say, okay, these 7 things are what I'm going to focus on. Wherever you are in your GLP-1 journey, hydration. Your colon cannot work effectively if you're dehydrated. So drinking 84 ounces of water or half your body weight in ounces of water, clean, filtered water is so important. I put that as number 1. Main cause of constipation is dehydration. Eat more fiber. So fiber is a prebiotic, and it also helps with the peristaltic action of the gut. And eating more fiber means fruits and vegetables as nature intended them. And a lot of people need some extra fiber, but we'll talk about that more when I talk about specific foods. The big one for gut health is avoid unnecessary antibiotics. And sometimes we call it be a good steward of antibiotics. If you need them, absolutely take them, but do it very intentionally, and also make sure you support your microbiome at the same time. So never take a probiotic when you take your antibiotic doses. Take your probiotic in the middle of, say, if it's twice a day, take your probiotic in the middle of the day so that you're optimizing your microbiome. And you don't wipe out, because antibiotics, antibacteria, wipes out your microbes. That's the whole plan of it. Also, processed foods. Processed foods. These are foods that are made in a plant, not from a plant. These wipe out the diversity of your microbiome because the pathogenic bugs, the bad bugs, love the processed foods and sugars. And so you can get an overgrowth of pathogenic bacteria when you have too many processed foods. So eat as nature intended. It's just a very simple fact that I use with my clients when I'm teaching gut health. Exercise. Exercise is so important to help with the peristalsis, that muscle of the gut, the muscle of the stomach, the muscles for our bones. And aerobic exercise increases GLP-1, natural GLP-1 secretion. I am a big proponent of daily probiotics, the opposite of antibiotics. A good probiotic, and you can certainly reach out to me after this and ask me what I would recommend. But a probiotic daily helps with that diversity of your microbiome, which optimizes your natural GLP-1 secretion. And I'm also a big proponent of digestive enzymes. So the digestive enzymes work on the stomach. So when you have a stomach that's not moving very well, the food accumulates, the food can't get broken down, mashed down. And the food has to get mashed down to be able to get absorbed, the nutrients absorbed by the small intestine. So digestive enzymes, they come in and they literally munch at the food, munch, 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 munch. They break down that food. So if someone is on a GLP-1 agonist, I highly recommend digestive enzymes to help munch down that food in the stomach so you don't get that heartburn, you don't get that feeling of nausea because the food is just static. But also, generally for gut health, digestive enzymes can help break down the food so that you get optimal nutrient absorption. So those would be my top 7 factors for gut health. I hope that's helpful to you. There might be something in there that you can start with. And then people ask me, well, how do I know if my gut is healthy? And here's how you know. So the Bristol stool chart I use with all of my clients, and this tells me about your poop. Yes, we're going to talk about poop. And you are ideally, you want a type 4, smooth, brown, kind of like an overripe banana, smooth, squishy, comes out very easily. And you want maybe 2 or 3 of those a day. Ideally, that would be a wonderful colon that's working, that's doing its job, absorbing nutrients, creating the stool, and pushing it out the other end. On the other side, type 1 is these rabbit pellets, hard, craggy, hard to push out. Might be a sign of dehydration, but it also might be a sign that you're not absorbing nutrients well for some reason. Then we'd have to explore what that was. Or maybe get the lumpy little rabbit pellets together. And then the other end, type 7, is a liquidy, diarrhea stool. And you'd be surprised how many people that's a normal stool to them. So people that have gluten sensitivity and continue eating bread and gluten pasta often have this liquidy consistency because the gluten is affecting that small intestine barrier. And when the barrier is affected and it's leaky, that's called leaky gut, and the nutrients aren't absorbed very well, and you just get liquid coming out. So this is just a good guide for you to start thinking about where your gut health is. And if you are up this end, the two extremes, highly recommend you start really focusing on your gut health. If you've got a nice type 4, then congratulations, you've got a colon that works nicely. I do have an ebook. This is a free ebook. Ooh, let me get that link for you. I'll put it in the chat box. I've also got a QR code here. Because I don't have a lot of time to talk a lot about as much as I'd like about gut health, I'll put this in the chat box. Here we go. Paste. It's kind of it's one of my longest ebooks. Talks about what the gut is. It talks a lot about psychobiotics, so different ways that we're optimizing gut health for our mental health as well, and some solutions, a gut health support for you. So if that's something you're interested in, I just put that link in the chat box. Thank you for the link. Oh, that's so sweet. Look at you guys. Huh. So kind. So let's move into some specific foods. And now I'm going to get into some detail because I wanted you to go away with something really helpful tonight. So I'm going to talk about foods, physical activity, stress management, and sleep. And I know you all want to talk about foods. What foods can we eat to enhance natural GLP-1 action? So probably no surprise, healthy fats. So we're kind of at this nation that we think fats are bad, but I think we're getting over that. I think we've had enough discussion, or maybe it's just that I'm in this world and I think people realize that healthy fats are actually really good. I hope more people are realizing this. Healthy fats, avocado oil, olives, flaxseed oil. These are all wonderful for that peristalsis of the gut. It's also wonderful for your brain, and it optimizes GLP-1 secretion. Lean protein, fish, chicken, turkey, eggs, lean beef, cottage cheese, whatever protein is right for you. And fibers. Remember we talked about fiber? Increasing your fiber for GLP-1 secretion. Fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, flax seeds, chia seeds, really increasing your fibers. And probiotic and prebiotic foods, yogurts. I love my Greek yogurt, and I put my blueberries and strawberries. It's a fabulous snack. Not only does it have probiotics in there, I put fiber powder in there as well as my prebiotic. And I put my fruits, and I get about 18 grams of protein. That Greek yogurt is loaded with protein because I am very focused on protein intake every day. And I'm going to give you some tips about how to increase protein. But aren't they beautiful pictures? I mean, it really gives you an understanding of these are all foods you should be eating, whether you're on an agonist or you're trying to optimize your natural GLP-1 secretion. But there are specific foods that enhance your GLP-1, your natural GLP-1 levels. And this is the kind of information you don't get, but Sonovive being a functional medicine hospital is really focused on the functioning of the body. So interestingly, bitter foods. So the bitter taste receptors that live in the small intestine, they help control the release of GLP-1. Arugula, so some of these lettuces that are more bitter, arugula, cruciferous vegetables, so your Brussels sprouts, lemon, I put lemon in my water every day. Artichoke, I love making grilled artichoke. So I get green beans, mushrooms, and artichoke, and I put avocado oil and I put them in the oven and bake them. Makes for a really great veggie. Olives. So these bitter foods support your GLP-1 levels. And then polyphenols. So these are so supportive for your microbiome. So berries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, olives, brightly colored vegetables, the polyphenols are all the colors, the red cabbage, bell peppers of all colors, the red peppers, the yellow peppers, hazelnuts, pecans. I put pecans in my salad. I make this amazing salad that has blueberries and strawberries and pecans. And I put the arugula. I do like arugula. And then I make a great balsamic olive oil dressing and have that nearly every day. So these are specific foods that can enhance your natural GLP-1 level. And then this is just a slide to show how natural GLP-1 secretion is directly increased by increasing your fiber intake. So sometimes you cannot get enough fiber, and I'm talking about 35 grams of fiber every day. You cannot get enough often from just food. So I do have an extra fiber powder that I use that gives me an extra 12 grams of fiber right there. I sprinkle it on my salad. I put it in my yogurt. And because this is so important for your gut health and for your GLP-1 secretion. So the fiber-rich foods stimulate GLP-1 production by helping the beneficial bacteria make these short-chain fatty acids. So really important to increase your fiber. And you can certainly work with a health coach and look at your diet and get all kinds of ideas about how you can increase fiber. And then, of course, protein. We have to increase our protein. And protein can increase GLP-1 levels because protein stabilizes blood sugar and also reduces hunger and makes you feel full. So how much protein do I need? Here is the big question, probably the biggest question I get of all questions. So it depends on your activity level. Most of the clients I work with, I start with 100 grams a day of protein. Let's work towards 100 grams because I want my clients to be active, to be doing some kind of strength training, even if it's the resistance bands or you're doing planks. Resistance is just when you're actually working against gravity and you're using, even if it's your own body weight, different than aerobic rate when you get your heart rate up. Resistance is when you're actually using some weights, and you can do totally without weights. You can use body weights, planks, so regular planks and side planks, getting some resistance bands. I recommend aiming for 100 grams a day. So a lot of people in the fitness world are recommending 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So if your ideal body weight is 140, they would be recommending 140 grams of protein. And for a lot of people, that's a big stretch. So I usually kind of figure out where you are now and increasing it by 20. So maybe you're taking about 80 grams now. Now, you'd have to track this to know. So I do recommend using some kind of macro counter, protein counter, just for a week, because we tend to eat the same foods, and finding out how much protein are you really getting. And you might be surprised. You might think a food has protein, or if you're a vegetarian, it can be especially hard to get enough protein. But remember the whole GLP-1 conversation, that we need to be increasing our protein for muscle strength and to prevent osteoporosis, to prevent fractures. So I recommend 100 grams to start with. And one of the best protein sources is whey protein, because whey protein and GLP-1 go hand in glove. So it's digested very well. It's broken down into amino acids and can stimulate the gut cells to release GLP-1. It enhances insulin sensitivity, reduces appetite, and reduces cravings. All the things the agonists do. So I do use a whey protein powder every morning after my workout. One scoop has 20 grams of protein. So bingo, you've got 20 grams right there. And then I might have, if I do eat eggs, I love eggs. A lot of people don't eat eggs, but one egg has 6 grams of protein. So 3 eggs are 18 grams of protein. What's wrong with having a 3-egg omelet and a big smoothie of whey protein? And I can get to that 40 plus grams of protein in one meal. And that's a good marker, because if you're eating 40 plus grams per meal and then you're having it with your snacks, then you're getting to that 100 goal. And just to know that adults who do not engage in regular strength training lose 4 to 6 pounds of muscle per decade. So sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, I believe this is as important a discussion as diabetes. And people are not talking about it. So we need to prevent this age-related muscle loss. And whey protein is more effective for building muscle in older adults than plant protein. So here are some ways to incorporate more whey protein. So post-workout, that's what I said I do every day. Muscle recovery, supports blood sugar regulation, helps with appetite control. Put it in, I do just a whey protein, I just shake it up and drink it. So that's one way to do it. But you can also make a whole smoothie with adding things like greens and fruits. And protein packed snacks. Don't forget, you can use these whey proteins to make high protein energy bites. You can use it for recipes. I use it in my yogurt. One cup of the yogurt I have is about 18 grams of protein. Then if I put 20 grams of protein powder in there, it immediately takes a snack to 38 grams of protein. And I haven't added any pecans or nuts. So you can do it when you're really smart about looking at your protein and getting it in for your satisfying snacks. Now, the other thing about GLP-1 production is, because we want to be insulin sensitive, the less frequent snacking increases your GLP-1. So if you can have your 3 meals a day and maybe one snack in between, but otherwise nothing, that helps with insulin sensitivity. When we're eating all the time, insulin is secreted, and then the insulin gets lazy or doesn't work as well. We're not as sensitive. So also important for GLP-1 secretion naturally is less frequent snacking. Extending time between meals can now allow insulin GLP-1 to reset. So this is what we call metabolic flexibility. And a lot of people ask me in the questions for this webinar, how can I optimize my metabolism? This is one of the ways you can, is less frequent snacking. And then having at least 12 hours between your last meal and your first meal of the day, having that nice break so your body can reset. Okay, physical activity. I know I've said it over and over and over, but GLP-1 is naturally produced so much more when we are physically active, but it also improves our microbiome. So it's giving us all kinds of benefits. So who knew that physical activity actually helps with the diversity of our microbiome? So those of you that are exercising every day or doing some kind of physical activity, good for you. That works. And then sadly, chronic stress way affects our gut. Dysbiosis is when the microbiome gets out of balance and you have an impaired gut and brain function, and it decreases GLP-1 levels. So we've got to realize that stress management is an important factor in maintaining our overall health. And then sleep deprivation also affects our gut microbiome, and it disrupts the signaling of the GLP-1 pathways. So that's a lot. I wanted to leave enough time for questions. So you can start typing your questions in the chat. And as I just wrap up here to remind you what we covered, which is how GLP-1 is naturally produced in the body, now you know, and how the agonists work and some of the side effects possible of the agonists. And then a holistic lifestyle approach, which I believe needs to be discussed even before anyone starts on an agonist, certainly during, and essential for weaning off the GLP-1s. And here are some call to actions for you. So I've told you that the road to health is paved with good intestines, and Hippocrates says all health begins in the gut. So I have a 4-week digestive detox program. It's an online self-paced program. I created it with a good colleague of mine, Dr. Deb Kern. And because I talk about gut health so much and people said, well, what do I do? And they wanted something simple to follow. So I just have the little bit.ly link there. I'll put that in the chat as well. That link just gives you information about it. Maybe this is something that it's calling you and you want to just explore, boy, how can I get some better gut health? I've also got a little QR code there that'll just take you to my website that talks about the gut program. And seriously, focusing on gut health is the solution to holistic weight management long term. I have no question about it. And then these are the four weeks of the program. It's all self-paced. I have fashioned this on the Sonovive Medical Institute program. When we go to Sonovive and we eat really amazing food and we work with cleansing our body. It's a non-toxic environment. It's all gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free. And I have a beautiful recipe book that's part of this program. And it might be something calling you if that's something you want to explore. But I'm blessed to work with a lot of amazing coaches, and we are offering until next Wednesday, so for a week, whoever invited you onto this webinar, a 30-minute free one-on-one consult to go through this. We have a health assessment. Is your health at risk? And it basically looks at all systems of the body and gives you kind of a barometer of where you are in your health journey. And this is something that might be a stepping stone for you to figure out where to go next. So just reach out to whoever invited you on the webinar, and they can set you up with a 30-minute one-on-one consultation to go through this questionnaire, give you the results, just a one-pager, give you the results, talk about what it means. It's kind of a screening on your level of toxicity. We all have toxicity in our body, but this will give you a real indication and number of where you are on the toxicity scale. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to look at the questions. So we have a little while. What is a good way to eat chia seeds? Kim says. Well, I usually soak my chia seeds, and put them in my smoothies. Yeah, that's how I eat them. Someone else might be able to share in the chat box how they like to eat them. Cecil says, sounds interesting, the digestive detox program. Oh, here, I add my chia seeds to my Greek yogurt every morning. Yay, I make it and let it sit, right? So they soak up. Chia seeds have to kind of take in the liquid. So Sam, that's a great idea. Just let them soak for a little while. And so they become mushier. Yeah, oh, I'm going to try that. Boy, my yogurt is now packed with whey protein, chia seeds, berries. Yay. I like your recipe ideas. Do you have a website where I can find them? Yes, I do. You can go to my website. I can put my recipes. I do have a website with lots of free recipes, and I am very happy to share those. I'm just going to go to my website here, programs, recipes. I have a whole recipe section. Now, I am not a cook at all, but oh boy, I have fun creating low glycemic recipes, and I'm going to put it right here in the chat box. I have a whole page of recipes, and of course this recipe book that I mentioned, oh my gosh, wait till you see it. Let's see, I'm going to show this. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek at these this recipe book I put together. I'm going to share my screen. Now, these are simple because everything needs to be simple. There's a detox salad. There's some dressings. Do not buy store-bought dressings. Lots of chemicals. Why put extra chemicals in the body where you can make this lovely Dijon balsamic vinaigrette with some balsamic vinegar, extra virgin olive oil, and Dijon mustard? It's delicious. Every time I make this, people love it. Simple, simple. All creamy avocado dressing. Lots of dressings here for you. Roasted cauliflower. Look how easy that is. It doesn't look delicious. Cauliflower, avocado oil, herbamine. Now, this is a great spice here, if anyone's used it. It adds a little texture, adds a little flavor, and you just put them in the oven. I told you it was easy. Cucumber pasta salad, because we're doing chickpea pasta, gluten-free. Everything here is gluten-free. Some stew, more marinade. Oh, cauliflower rice. Yes, this is my go-to. I make this all the time. And if you have a Trader Joe's, you can get all these things simply at Trader Joe's. And this is the only rice we eat now. It's absolutely delicious. You might have seen, I do have that recipe on my website, on that link I just showed you. Cilantro cabbage slaw, yum. Portobello mushroom pizzas. And we even have dessert. Yum, yum, yum. These ones. Healthy, no-bake nut butter protein balls. These ones I make. These are great snacks because, again, we want protein for our snacks. So I just thought I would tease you with that. And we need recipes, right? You say, oh, I'm going to eat healthy, but tell me what to eat. So recipes are so important. Okay, Sam said, thank you. Oh, great. Let's see. Any more questions? Went to Sonoviv for the cancer program. Yes. They have great medical programs there. Yep. Any more questions? I love olive oil stores. Yes, Tammy, with lots of flavors for oils. Aren't we lucky? Tammy and I both live here in California, and we have this olive oil store. And my favorite combo, Tammy, is the blood orange olive oil with pomegranate balsamic. Oh my gosh, it's so good. But this whole store has all these different flavors of olive oils and balsamic. Yep. Kim said, will we be able to watch this again? Yes, everybody will get the recording. Yes. Once the recording is available, everyone that registered will get it. Cecil said, can magnesium deficiency have any effects on the microbiome? It's interesting you should ask that because one of the most common nutrient deficiencies is magnesium. And I would even say to you that it'd be great for everyone to supplement with magnesium. I know I do. I take magnesium glycinate every night. And it can affect any deficiency of a nutrient affects the microbiome because we are holistic beings. So magnesium is really important. Let's see. I don't see any other questions here. Tammy, great snack habit tips. Oh, good. Yeah, we need snack habit tips. Well, I don't see any other questions. So let's see in the Q&A. Oh, I look in the Q&A. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, so last chance. No. All right. So thank you, everybody. Melanie asked for prebiotics. Okay. Yeah, it gets confusing. Let's define this. Prebiotics, probiotics, postbiotics. A prebiotic is actually an insoluble food. It's not an active organism. Prebiotics are food for the microbiome. Think about fertilizer for the microbes. So the most common prebiotic, the most powerful prebiotic is fiber. And that's why I use that fiber powder in my yogurt because it feeds the microbiome. It also helps with peristalsis. And fruits and vegetables, as nature intended, have all the fiber. So that's a prebiotic. It's food for the microbiome. A probiotic is actually live microbes. Now, the importance, let's talk about probiotics because you should never take a probiotic on an empty stomach because the stomach acid is going to eat it up and you want the probiotic to get into the large intestine. And a probiotic, because a probiotic is live bacteria, and it's important to have it with food. So that's probiotic. And then a postbiotic is when the probiotics are broken down and the metabolites are called postbiotic, and they're also very active. We use a lot of postbiotics in skincare. Yep. So, what's the fiber supplement you use? I can send you that. I don't like talking about kind of product names here, but I see who asked that. Douchey, yes. Yes. I will send you that. And great. So I hope that helped with the difference, the probiotic, the prebiotic, and the postbiotic. So you will all get a copy of the recording so that you can listen again. And I will send you the link, some of the links that I shared in case you didn't get to copy them down. And I do webinars from time to time on topics that I get excited about. Again, from a health education perspective, it's never medical advice. You always want to have a good healthcare provider that you work with so that you can take some of this information and kind of decide what questions to ask. That's part of my role, is to help you be the best advocate for your own health and for the people you love. And let's face it, we need to be our best healthcare advocates because the healthcare system is very, very busy, and we need to get super well educated. All right. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Thank you all for your thank yous. Thank you, Tammy, for being my intro person today and for being amazing to work with. And I hope you all enjoyed it. And I will see you next time on my next webinar. Bye-bye for now.